Having your wedding in front of the castle at Magic Kingdom can cost you a minimum of $100,000.
And considering the fact that you're sitting here watching this video and not your butler, you likely can't afford this.
Help me, I'm poor.
What if we told you that you can have your fairy tale wedding without shelling out $100,000? We consider ourselves to be pretty frugal people.
So how did we end up getting married in front of the castle in the most magical place on earth? Stick around till the end of this video to find out how we did it and to see if your budget can support a Disney wedding. In fact, there's something so small you can do that will save you thousands of dollars. Tip number 1, floral is the most expensive and most marked up part of any wedding in our opinion. Our number 1 recommendation to you is to pick a naturally beautiful venue. Now, obviously, if you're getting married in front of the castle, that checks that box, but we're not delusional. We know not everybody can afford that, but there are tons of options around Walt Disney World that are naturally beautiful, and you won't need a lot of floral and decor to make it look that way. So one example we have is the France Pavilion in Epcot. It's naturally beautiful. It's in front of Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, and you're not going to need a lot of floral and decor to make that look nice. Now, at the time of this recording, the ceremony fee for the France Pavilion is $7,500, a far cry from the $40,000 it costs to get married on Main Street.
Actually, this tip is probably one of the main reasons why we picked the train station to get married at Magic Kingdom, because A, it was in front of the castle, but B, the beauty of the space meant that we really didn't have to spend any money on any floral for the train station.
And we picked the boardwalk because of the beautiful water as the backdrop. And even then we had to spend a bit on floral, but not that much.
And the great thing about getting married at Disney World is that almost every single ceremony location is a beautiful backdrop.
Tip number 2. So instead of having that super expensive dinner reception with the DJ and the dance floor, consider having a brunch reception instead. Your guests will hate you at first. Trust me.
Put poisonous gas in one of these balloons, so if any of them pops, you may die.
The minimum for a brunch is $140 per person versus dinner, which is $240. There's a huge price difference there. And when you're cutting out the dance floor and the DJ, you're also going to save a ton there as well. So like we said, we got married at the train station very early in the morning. The ceremony started at 7 a.m., which meant we were there by 5 o'clock in the morning, and our guests arrived at Magic Kingdom at 6:45 in the morning. So again, they will hate you, but we got a lot of comments afterwards on how cool it was to have a brunch wedding and how different and unique it was. So I think in the end, our guests actually were pretty happy with it.
And instead of spending that time dancing on the boardwalk, we went to Epcot instead and spent most of our time there. So I think it was a pretty good trade-off between dancing versus riding Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot.
And just because you don't have a dance floor or a DJ doesn't mean you can't have a first dance. We didn't have those things. We paid a small fee of about $1,100 to have audio set up at the reception so we could do our speeches, we could have a first dance, and we could dance with our parents. So it's not totally out of the question. Just talk to your wedding planner about it and see if you can arrange something.
If you want to find out how much we paid for our entire wedding, click the link down below. Tip number 3, have a close friend do your officiating. We flew from out of town for the wedding, so we didn't really feel comfortable having someone we've never met before officiate our wedding. Having a friend do your officiating can save you probably over $1,000. Plus, it adds that personal touch that you wouldn't get otherwise. Tip number 4, sign up for a credit card that gives you an amazing sign-up bonus when you hit a minimum spend. Your wedding's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars anyways, so hitting that spend should not be a problem. And Disney's super cool about paying your entire bill with a credit card. This can include cashback cards, travel cards, or just rewards cards from your favorite store.
Got it.
Why not fly first class after your Disney trip to your honeymoon with all those points you got?
We've never flown first class. Or business class.
Yeah. Again,
Or
we're very
premium.
frugal people, so we rather have 2 economy flights than 1 first class ticket.
Never even flown premium economy.
This should be open because it's civil rights.
If you'd like to know what credit card we signed up for and how much we got for free, you can click the link down below to watch our Disney wedding freebies video. Tip number 5. Surprisingly, Disney does not force you to buy their stuff. If you have anything you'd like to DIY and bring to the wedding with you, Disney is totally cool with that. If you are looking to save those few extra dollars, it's a great way to do it.
So an example of this is Disney has a photo booth that you can purchase for your wedding, but it was a little bit outside of our price range. So we decided on doing it ourselves by bringing a Polaroid camera and having guests glue their pictures into our guest book instead.
Tip number 6, forego physical invitations and RSVPs. Nobody saves them, and likely nobody is going to remember this. It's just an extra cost. There are tons of free websites you can sign up for that will send out reminder emails, your invitations, your RSVPs, and it even stores their addresses for after the wedding when you're sending out your thank you cards. This is not sponsored at all, but we did use WithJoy, and we're going to include a link down below for you to sign up to that service.
And if you're worried that you won't be able to create a custom themed invitation that's themed Disney, we actually just did a firework theme for our virtual invitations, and it felt like a Disney invitation itself. So check out the link below because there's a lot of different options to make it themed to your wedding.
And if WithJoy is listening, we'll take a sponsorship.
Pass.
Good, smart. I think you made the right decision. Take care.
Tip number 7. The timing of the year that you have your wedding can have a huge impact on the cost, especially when you're flying in and flights are determined by seasonality. Also, having your wedding on a weekday versus a weekend can be a little bit inconvenient for some guests,
I've never been so disrespected in my life.
but overall it can save you thousands of dollars on the event minimums that you have to hit. Plus, if you're having your wedding on a Thursday, then that just leaves Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for your guests to go to the parks with you before they fly back out of town.
Tip number 8. It's all about hotels. So our recommendation is to pick a hotel that's affordable for your guests and actually limit it to 1. If you are transporting your guests to the park, it will actually cut down on costs. If your guests book 10 nights through Disney, you get 1 complimentary night at any resort. And if your guests book 50 nights, you actually get 2 complimentary nights. So what we did was we limited our guests to booking at All-Star Resorts because it's the cheapest and it's actually quite nice. So what we did is our 2 complimentary nights, we booked at Animal Kingdom Lodge Savannah View Room, and then we used our DVC points for 2 nights at Grand Floridian. But after Grand Floridian, we actually went to All-Star Resorts to stay with our guests and have fun with them there.
Tip number 9. If you're planning on doing wedding favors for your guests, consider doing Mickey ears. We surprised our guests by personalizing their names onto the Mickey ears instead of having place cards at the wedding reception. This was a huge hit for our guests because we got wedding favors for everybody. We didn't have to pay for place cards for the reception tables. And we also saved on additional decorations because it added to the theming for our wedding.
Tip number 10, the final tip that is going to save you thousands of dollars. And it's as simple as saying 1 word. No.
May I offer you a piece of cake? No! No! No!
So one of the items that was quoted to us that we had the hardest time digesting was a wedding cake. Wedding cakes at Disney cost roughly $15 per person, plus fees, plus taxes. Because you're already getting dessert with your brunch or your dinner, there really is no reason to get a cake. When was the last time you were at a wedding and you were driving home or you were flying home and you said, "Hey hun, that wedding cake was really good"? Never. Nobody remembers the cake. It's always fairly basic. You're already going to have Mickey waffles there anyway, which are 10 times better than the cakes. We ended up saving roughly $2,000 just by saying no to a wedding cake. And that doesn't mean you don't get to try it. You can still pick up your free cake tasting kit. And if you want to find out more about that, you can click the link down below in the description. So before you thought having a Disney wedding was super unattainable, and hopefully we gave you some hope. You're paying a ton of money for your wedding anyway. Disney has a lot of options for every budget. So just be realistic with the wedding team there on what your budget is. Be open and flexible, and they will have tips on how to save money, and they're happy to share them with you.
So when we first started planning our wedding, I was picturing fireworks, I was picturing carriages down Main Street. But hopefully this video taught you that sometimes you make a few concessions and you can actually still have your dream wedding at Disney.
Do you have any unique tips on how to save money on a wedding that we didn't cover here, Disney or otherwise? If so, drop it down in the comments below and help out your fellow couples. And with that, we'll see you on the next one. Bye!